Yes, welcome back Inside the Game, episode 214, live here on the National Soccer Network. What was that sound? Oh, 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 oh.
I don't have a horn.
Come on, man. He just ran through that entire board.
I don't have a horn. Ah.
Who took your horn? Is that the same board you've always been using?
No, it's not.
Oh, it's a different board. Ooh, okay. All right. Wow, you are distraught right now. This is terrible news.
This isn't good.
Who dare take your... What do you mean it's good? It's terrible, man. That horn that's how we
it's
start
gone.
off our shows.
It's
oh, it's
horrible.
gone. R.I.P.
I don't even know if I want to do the show anymore.
That's terrible. Well, we're only about seconds. Well, yeah, we're seconds in, so
I don't have a
I guess
horn.
now would be the time to... That's tough. That's tough. I was even giving you the leeway and the space to be able to blare that because I know that's your favorite thing coming into shows.
No, like I'm not gonna lie. I hit the merge to put us on, and I looked and I'm like, oh wait, I don't know if there's a horn. And then this is what I got.
That's why it caught me off guard. I didn't know if I said a bad word or something.
Oh.
Ooh. All right. Well,
John
less
said there's
enthusiastic.
a horn. Where's there a horn?
Back.
Where's there a horn? Where's there?
Play the horn.
Okay, he says we'll get it going. Apparently, there's a horn.
All right, yeah. I'll believe it when I say it. We need our horn.
Oh God.
Anyways, welcome back.
I don't even know if I want to do the show without a horn.
That was a
Favorite
roaring
thing.
start, man. I had this whole smooth takeoff planned and everything, and that just that was impressive on our end. So
yeah, that wasn't planned at all.
We'll figure it out. No problem. Welcome back, episode 214 of Inside the Game. Oh, we got crickets. Now, is he just pressing buttons off in the corner now?
This is a horrible way to start the show.
Hey!
We probably lost every viewer.
We brought you in to troubleshoot a problem, and now he's just trolling.
No, I was gonna say I was having a great day. I got a haircut. It took me a while, but I actually found my barber now that in Metro Detroit. My only barber was up at school in Mount Pleasant, but now I found my barber that I will go to from here on out. And I was having a good day, and I was really hyped to do the show, and then I had no horn.
Well, I can give you my own, we can at least check out your fade, though. You want to show off the fade? You got to take the headset. There you go. Hey, Mal.
Yeah, you can't really see with the headset on.
You still got broccoli head, though. I'm not making fun of you, by the way.
No, that's why this isn't some people. So I've been asked this a lot of times. If I go to a doctor's office or I get my eyes checked, or a dentist, they will say, "Do you have a perm?" And I'm like, "God, no, I don't. It's just curly hair. It's my mom's hair. One of my cousins has a perm, and his hair is as curly as mine." But I tell people, no, I do not have a perm, nor do I even want one. This is just all natural. I can't do anything with it. It's just there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's does your whole family have hair, flowing hair? Because I'm half and half. I didn't know what side I was gonna get, and this is what I ended up getting, which is it's almost like a little Avatar: The Last Airbender tribute. Whenever I put my head down.
Oh, okay. I know. I get the reference now.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Thank you.
My dad's side is all bald, but then my mom's side, my Nush Papa still had hair when he passed, and this is my mom's hair, so I assume I would get that. I'd get that
no
side
cracks.
of the.
There's no divots. There's no parts missing at all. You're not heading in the direction of dad's side. No.
No, it's my hairline has been the same since high school.
All right, screw you. You don't have to rub it in. I mean, geez.
I'm sorry. My hairline's been...
No, you're...
I'm going to go to... Nate, you should go to Turkey. You should go to Turkey and get a hair transplant. Be like
there you
Donovan.
Go. Aren't they all bald in Turkey anyways? I thought a lot of those guys were bald too.
No, but that's where you get it. That's where people from all around the world go get hair transplants. That's where Landon Donovan went to get his hair transplant. That's where...
Really?
Yeah, it's where two Arsenal players went to get their hair transplants. Like, yeah, no, they that's where they get the hair transplants because they you have like the thing around your head, like you have like dots that marks it
Oh,
for
okay.
you, and then because I think they like move like the hair in the back, and then they move it forward because like that's obviously still
Yeah,
growing, and then they just
right.
move that into the front. I think I don't know how
Yeah,
it works. I don't plan on getting a hair transplant anytime soon, nor have I ever
yeah,
had one or know anyone personally that has one, but. Yeah, no,
yeah.
this
Well,
was like
they got to
completely
take
off
it.
topic based on what the show sheet said. So we're
They got,
running with
yeah,
it
yeah.
today,
Take
I
it from
guess.
take it from somewhere. I mean, they can't just create hair out of nowhere, though. I'm sure someday they will come up with the
Is there
technology
no
to be
horn?
able to do so.
Oh,
Oh, where's the wah, 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 wah? Do we still have that button?
there it is.
Yeah,
That was allowed.
that one's for you.
This isn't a good day. I was hyped for today. Not a good day. Let's get this thing
Terrible
back on
start.
track.
Let's talk about it. Trinity Rodman, our first topic of the day here on hour one of Inside the Game here on the National Soccer Network. Recently signed what will make her the highest paid player in the world. Resigns and signs a 3-year extension with the Washington Spirit. She's the highest paid women's player in the world as she now gets $1 million a year. I want to talk about that a little bit here in a second. But after multiple roadblocks with her contract extension, she has stayed. Lots of reports said she would go overseas and join a European side. Again, we've seen an influx of more and more, specifically U.S. women's national team players who are filtering overseas. It's kind of the reverse effect in Europe going on right now. They're starting to build their ranks, and a lot of our top end players, which we've mentioned, the NWSL, is arguably it is the greatest women's soccer league in the world, are going over there to play. But Rodman signed a deal with the Spirit in December, but league commissioner Jessica Berman vetoed it because it went against the league's right deal. Obviously, things have been worked out now. The money is where it needs to be, and she will be making $1 million a year. Obviously, for those who don't know the name Rodman, who tune into our soccer portion, you should. That's Dennis Rodman. Obviously, played with MJ in
She's got some
Chicago. Was
funky
a part of
hair,
those.
like her dad.
Yeah. Well, at least
Sometimes.
she's not. She, well, her dad had more than just funky hair back in the day. Dennis Rodman had his whole documentaries dedicated to just that man's life. Fascinating.
Oof.
I don't know
Well,
how you become best friends with the dictator of North Korea, but if there is anybody who was able to do it, Dennis Rodman was able to do it.
that's right. That's
I
right.
just
Greatest rebounder of
crazy.
all time, honestly.
Yeah, my man can hit the boards. I actually think they created the movie The Interview based off of Rodman's relationship with
That's a
Kim
good.
Jong-un. Have you ever
That's a good.
seen The Interview?
Yes, yes, I have. They hate us because
Great
they ain't
flick.
us.
Great flick. The tiger has night vision goggles. Yeah, James Franco is great. But anyways, getting back on topic, man, we are all over the rabbit trails today on Inside the
Friday.
Game.
It's a Friday show. Anything happens on
Well,
Fridays.
yeah. But yeah, talking about this a little bit. Obviously, she's a great player. It's good to see her back, continuing to play in the NWSL. I think one of the main concerns, it's interesting. You literally flip it when you talk about the men's side. It's all about how do we get players back here. We'll talk about Josh Sargent here momentarily. That story continues to wind and bend, and the hypocrisy of the European public is just completely on display, full display when it comes to soccer. But looking at this deal, what strikes me is gets $1 million a year, and she's the highest paid women's soccer player in the world. This is groundbreaking news, obviously, for the women's game. Like, you have to continue to go up, and she's the first to ever do it. So in that regard, in that respect, awesome to see. But it is crazy to me because we had two separate conversations coming into the show. One of them talking about baseball, and how we have billion-dollar contracts, and yet she is the highest paid women's soccer player in the world. She's making $1 million. Now, what I will say is that this gives the NWSL, I think, a level of power and a level of say that is exciting for American soccer fans for the biggest reason. Number one, we have the financial means to keep the players in the league here in the United States. I think that's really important to mention, that financially they can back something like this. But I just hope that someday, one day, we can get to a point to where $1 million a year, even if it is a women's sport and it's women's soccer and NWSL, even in the WNBA, I know they've made a lot about, equal pay and all this other stuff, but hopefully we can get to a point in our world and in the sports society where $1 million a year for a women's soccer player is not groundbreaking stuff. It's just interesting because I read that, and it's obviously it's cool to celebrate, and she's worth every single dollar. But man, it just nowadays, Ryan, for some reason, when I see $1 million a year, it just doesn't strike me as like, oh, okay, that's a lot of money. At least not for athletes. Like for me, obviously, that would be a ton of money. For you, that would be a ton of money. For any of us, yeah.
18-year-olds get $4 million
before they even take a snap.
Exactly.
Before they even play one down. This is crazy to me.
I mean, you got to factor in all of this, though. I mean, the league's only 13 years old. I mean,
that's true.
It's bound to happen. Like you look at the league minimum at $48,000 a year. On average, it's $117,000 a year. That minimum is supposed to rise supposedly by $82,000 by 2030. I mean, look, it's we all understand the whole. I mean, Sophia Smith is over $500,000 like a year. That's still impressive. I mean, look, we have to look at it as it's in terms. You got to factor in everything when it comes to paying somebody X amount of dollars and in a league. It's the views. It's all the jersey sales. It's all the advertisement deals. I'm not saying that these players aren't talented or they're not the best at in their sport in the world. Not saying that at all. But in order to we talk about all the equal pay stuff. I mean. Congrats to Trinity Rodman. I know the numbers are only going to go up for her and in the NWSL and all for U.S. women's national team players. I mean, you got to eventually start bringing in an audience week in, week out. You got to continue to grow the league. I mean, $1 million within 13 years of the league, again, it's still impressive. I mean, these athletes are super impressive in what they do on the world stage as well with winning a gold medal. And I saw an interview with Emma Hayes the other day on the Tim Howard, Landon Donovan podcast. We're going to talk about that next week because she said some good things about the U.S. game. But no, it's eventually you're going to have to grow the league a little bit in terms of the views and all that fun stuff. But back to the other part of what I wanted to get into about the league vetoing it originally. Jessica Berman, the vetoing it. It just feels like Chris Paul to the Lakers all over again with David Stern. But to say, like, you have a superstar, obviously, in your league. We talked about already that this is a newer league, I guess you could say, 13 years in. And to veto your superstar of having an extension like this, I think is a bad look at the moment because you have to keep these superstars in your league. We talked about if the NWSL is the best league in the world. It is currently statistically in terms of the teams that are in it. It is the best league in the world. But let's not kid ourselves that the rest of the world has some good leagues as well. And if you want to grow your league, if you want to continue to have all these players continue to make more and more money, you need your superstars in your leagues. Like look at the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, the MLB. Where are the best players in the world playing? They're playing in that league. Why was the SEC regarded as one of the best football conferences in the country? Because the best football players played for Alabama, played for LSU, played for Georgia. Now look at the Big Ten; it's a completely different story. But you have to keep your superstars in one spot if you want to grow the league. And I just think vetoing a contract extension for the most amount of money of any soccer player in the world, it's not the best of looks. But again, she gets it done anyway. It took a little bit longer. I'm sure some of the Washington Spirit fans were a little bit upset. I thought that the contract announcement of the re-signing was awesome. Nate, I know you're kind of new to the soccer scene. But in terms of transfer announcements, like new signings and contract extensions, soccer does it the best because you do not get this anywhere else in the world in terms of sports. Like KD signs with the Warriors. There's no video that announces it. It just Woj bomb. It's this, and that. And he just holds up a jersey at the press conference, and that's that. No, soccer, they do like full-on music videos for this damn thing. It's like 1.5 minutes long to 2 minutes, maybe a minute, of just really cool edits. They bring in all these different fans and celebrities to help announce this thing. And it's just awesome that these announcement videos in the game of soccer. And if anyone at home, I hope and tell you guys to search up this video of her being re-signed. And it even starts off with saying, like, oh, there's turmoil about her re-signing and her extension, which I'm sure caused a little bit of chaos with the fans. But no, you guys got to check it out.
Yeah, 7 goals, 7 assists in 25 matches, at least in the NWSL. She also obviously has been big for the U.S. women's national team, as we talked about, key in their Olympic gold medal run, scoring 3 goals, providing 1 assist in that stretch. Is maintained high volume attacking stats. I mean, it's just what was it, 40, I guess, key passes, 36 shots on goal in the last club season. So relentless. And you're right, that needs to be, it is a star driven. American sports in a lot of ways are star driven, but any league is star driven. Like, you have to have your handful, your group of stars that move the needle, that bring people out, that buy tickets. And this building of women's sports, it's slow. Like, it is something that it takes time, and we're seeing the progression in the WNBA. We're seeing the progression in volleyball with the new merger of the 2 different leagues, and now they have Major League Volleyball, and obviously we're seeing it with the NWSL. Didn't get the chance to watch that whole video, but certainly something that I'll be looking at. But no, you're absolutely right, and the truth is at least it got done. My guess is that there was something in that contract, there was something in that agreement that maybe the dignitaries, front office people did not necessarily agree with, but at the end of the day, they did get it done. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them. But yeah, it is more of a show, isn't it? Like, that is something that I certainly see. The thing that I find entertaining is that now I feel like a lot of athletes won't know that they're getting traded until they see it on social media. In a lot of
Yeah.
other leagues in the United States, like, that's how it is. Like, you're just kind of sitting around and then it's done. So yeah, definitely different in the soccer space than it is maybe in some other major American sports. But congratulations to Trinity Rodman. The NWSL continues to move the needle forward. And obviously we'll be talking a lot more about the women's side as we move forward, because right after the 26 World Cup is the 27 World Cup, and the women's team looking to get back and win gold under Emma Hayes, who's just doing lights out work with the U.S. women's national team. But before we head to break, again, we got some clubs coming up this summer that are bringing their talents over to the United States, including FC Bayern Munich. FC Bayern summer camps are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America, open to boys and girls of all skill levels. FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path. And right now, save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's promo code BayernNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more, fcbayernyouth.com. Also, we got a fun giveaway coming up, but that's coming up next. Back live on Inside the Game, Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky, episode 214, final episode of this week before we head into the weekend. Wanted to quickly notify you guys on one thing. We are giving some stuff away here on the show. It's not something we always do, but Salt Athletic, who is always a proud sponsor of Inside the Game, is giving away their smell-proof cleat bags. And it's not just for cleats, though. It's for everything. They have tested it out. You can put anything in there, from gear to shirts to shoes to undies, whatever you want to put in
really.
there. It is smell-proof. Anything that is smelly. And yeah, there it is. So our resident model, Ryan Glinsky.
We're thinking here at least once a week we'll give away one of these bags. We got a lot of them. We're thinking maybe a little social media giveaway, like make sure you're following, repost it or something. But yeah, we're thinking that we'll probably start that next Friday, and then during question of the day, we even announce it who we choose, and then obviously we'll ship it for free, all that fun stuff. So you just got to give us your address, and we'll ship it to you, and it'll come right to your door. Even if you don't even play soccer, I mean, this stuff works. So even if like you're playing basketball, you got some basketball shoes. Honestly, I should do this for pickup basketball. I didn't even think about that. I'm definitely doing that for pickup basketball. Just put my shoes in here. It'll be all good, and then you'll look like super cool walking in, like the soccer players holding your bag and stuff. You'll look sweet. You'll have your aura will go up by at least 100% when you walk in the door if you got this you got this Salt Athletic bag with you. So just letting you know about that. But we're thinking social media giveaway as long as you're following us and liking us on, I don't know, Instagram, TikTok. We'll probably do an Instagram thing. We'll have to keep it on one thing to make it work. But yeah, no, we're definitely gonna do a social media giveaway with all that fun stuff.
No, you're definitely right, though. All the cool kids are using Salt Athletic. So, again, check it out. We're going to be giving some of those away. Maybe we come up with like a trivia question or something along those lines. I know we got some live viewers here. Make sure you drop your comments, by the way, here on our show, Inside the Game, and give us a follow on social media at National Soccer Network. Ryan, getting into our second topic.
And the Premier Media Group TikTok. We got that thing going, too.
Premier Media Group, all sports content. We'll be posting a lot on that one as well. I want to get into the second portion of our show, and this is the part that it's probably going to take us a minute to get through this, and that's okay because I think we both are kind of ready and willing, and today we have the time. And yesterday there was yet another twist in the Josh Sargent saga. The latest news on obviously the dealings that fell through between him and Norwich City. He has been trading with the academy side because he refuses to play with the senior side until a deal goes through. The transfer window obviously is only weeks away, so it is coming up very soon, but is obviously continues to eye a deal to return to Toronto to play for Toronto FC.
Did you say the window opens in a couple weeks?
Or closes in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, it closes in 1 week.
Closes.
Closes 1 week.
Closes in a week. Not opens in a week. Closes in a week. But obviously Norwich City, the comment was made about Josh Sargent's family. Again, we talked about the situation yesterday that led to him being visibly upset in those meetings. Now, obviously, we don't know specifically what was said, but now they're looking for an apology. They are looking for Josh Sargent to come out and apologize. We were watching a segment yesterday, Ryan, you and I were, that you sent to me. Yeah, so again, we have a lot of time on this first segment here today. We actually blocked out a good portion of our show to just talk about this. So to everybody who left comments on that video on YouTube where we talked about there's a blatant bias against American soccer players overseas, and you said, well, this is a farce. This isn't real. You guys are arrogant. You're ignorant. We'll never respect you. This is the reason why we can't listen to you. You know, it's a waste of my time. This is rage bait. Whatever you said on that post, right? We're going to point out your blatant hypocrisy on our show right now, and the reason why there is a bias against American players right now, because we have time today. We actually booked out a good portion of our show to tell you clowns exactly how wrong you are. All right, so Josh Sargent, after an insult to his family, and mind you, we're coming to all these conclusions, and we don't even know what was said, okay? And I need to make something very clear. If anybody said something about my family that I deem bad enough to where I don't want to work for them anymore, I'm sorry, you're not getting an apology from me. And also, I'm not the type to stick around. You disrespect my family, I cut you off. That's it. That's how that works. Now, I don't know how this works over in Europe, but in the United States, typically you don't insult someone's family. That's not something that you do as management. I don't give a damn how well you've done as a manager. I don't give a damn what championships you've won. It doesn't mean you can just talk to people however you want to talk to people, especially just because maybe they were born over here and you feel like you have a level of entitlement to that. But beyond that, the double standard to say that Josh Sargent needs to just suck it up and apologize and move on and play is the most blatant example of hypocrisy in European soccer and the most blatant example of a double standard when it comes to players from the United States. And if you don't see that, you can shove it. Here's 11 examples. Ryan, I'm going to go through 11 examples if you're ready, if you're down for this. I know you got a few examples on your mind, but here are 11 examples of players.
And I lived through a couple of them.
Is this Planet Football, or are you looking at the Planet Football website?
Oh, no, I was just going to explain them off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, you go ahead.
Just go. Just roll.
All right. We're rolling. All right. So let's talk about this a little bit. So, 11 players on this list. Diego Costa.
Diego Costa. I hated him. He was such a douche. He was such a... he constantly... There was like a weird phase where Chelsea and Atletico would constantly just swap players time and time again. But yeah, it's about when he left Chelsea to Atletico, I imagine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Striker stayed in Brazil, where he waited out a move to Atletico Madrid, which eventually went through in January of 2018, but did exactly what Josh Sargent is doing.
Yep. Diego Costa's a douchebag. He's a bigger douchebag than I think any of the USA players. And no, there's a long history, but I already know which one mine is. There's two in mind that are the worst. That's just mine though.
What about Raheem Sterling?
That's number one. When he literally said in an interview, "Come get me, Man City. Come get me." Literally.
Yeah.
Come get me.
Yeah, refusing new contract offers from Liverpool. Blatantly, may I add, obvious to everyone that he wanted to leave and wanted to join Man City back in 2015. Intentionally stayed out of games, demanded that he leave.
Literally, there's an interview where he says this, and Sterling wasn't even that good at that time, at that specific in time. He was not really even that good and worth $50 million plus, whatever he was. But no, he literally, I still remember that interview where he just literally says, "Come get me, Man City." And like, if we're talking about because Norwich feels disrespected, that's honestly the most disrespectful thing that you could say if you're a soccer player or even an athlete, to just straight up say like, "Come get me, dude. Like, I want out, and I don't want to play. I want to refuse a contract." Mind you, Raheem Sterling was a damn academy prospect and went up the ranks of Liverpool, and you're acting like that. There's a reason why he's not really like that at this point in time.
Yeah. Sense of entitlement. Yeah. Anyways,
he's English, by the way.
Marco Rojo. Yeah. Well, of course he is. Of course he is, because there's a double standard with those people, especially when it comes to this sport. Marcos Rojo refused to train at Sporting Lisbon when he tried to force a move to Manchester City in 2014, bizarrely prompting Juan Sebastian Veron to get involved.
God, he sucked.
Clint Dempsey. Here's an American example. Clint Dempsey. He's not even the first American in which to do so. Having been a mainstay on the side and one of the best players at Fulham for several years, and it's true, Dempsey decided he wanted to leave the club in 2012, much to the anger of manager Martin Jol, I believe that is. Website owned by the same company which owns Liverpool published a story saying he had signed with the Anfield club, even though Joel said that he hadn't even put a bid in for him. So, not even the first American to do so.
That sucked for him. He went to Tottenham afterwards. Yeah, that sucks for him.
Yes. But Carlos Tevez had already tried to leave City once before he refused to come off the bench during a Champions League clash at Bayern Munich in September in 2011. Refused to come off the bench. I'm not playing.
He's had a couple. Even with West Ham and Man United. Dude, he's had a couple. Tevez, the Argentine, like, good player on his day, like, really good player, but complete asshole. Like, no, and to say, mind you, what we're talking about is Sargent sent a text to his manager and said, "Look, I don't want to play for you guys anymore," and that is considered disrespectful. But some of these players have actually blatantly gone out into the public eye and said all this stuff, or literally refuse to go into a game on the bench. Like, that's what we're arguing here. Continue. There's one
Tom,
worse that you haven't said yet.
well, go ahead. I'll let you finish this off because I just wanted to. You shared the Galazzo America clip with me yesterday, so that's really what I wanted to get to, and just the pompous arrogance from everybody else on that panel outside of Tom Bogert, that is. But go ahead. What's your worst example?
The worst one is William Gallas. That is the worst one. I think he's English. I'm pretty sure he's English, but he was trying to make a move. No, he's French, so about basically the same thing. It was either going to Arsenal from Chelsea or Arsenal to Chelsea. I think it was Chelsea to Arsenal. He wanted out so bad, where he said, if I played for you, I think it's Chelsea, that he would threaten to score own goals on his own team. He threatened the management and the owner to score own goals. Like, that's absurd. And look, Sargent's got a reason to be pissed off. And look, Sargent has made it clear for a couple of months that he's wanted out. He's wanted out because he turned down moves to Leeds. He's turned down a move to Sunderland, both Premier League clubs, mind you, and he turned down a move to Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. He's turned down moves. He simply just wants to go home because he has a family and he wants to be closer to his family. He's got a third kid. I mean, granted, he's going to Canada. It's not like he's going into the United States. But this man just wants to go home. And we talked about, whether, these players should be going overseas, whether these players should be staying domestically. But I guess when it comes to this case, it's a little different compared to everyone else. He wants to just go home because of a family reason. Look, I don't think Sargent is going to be even in the running for the World Cup at this point. I think Pepe's better than him. Ajuman, who might be on the move to Leeds United for $20 million, it might be ahead of him. Flo Balogun is ahead of him. Shouldn't say might, but no, there's a couple players ahead of him. This move just stunts. I shouldn't say stunts his growth, but it's hurting him, especially with some momentum, trying to build up some momentum into the World Cup. But just let him go home. Just let the guy go home.
Yeah. And go ahead.
And my point, you can't go up on a panel as an English person, as a Brit, and say, this is horrible. This is the worst thing that you could do. Just go and apologize when we listed a handful of European and South American examples. You can't do that. You just can't.
Apologize? So wait. There needs to be an apology on the side of Josh Sargent, but there doesn't need to be an apology on the side of management for maybe the comments that were made about his family, which, again, by the way, we have no idea what was said. Shout out Josh Sargent for not just telling the entire world, because, I mean, if that was me, I would just throw these people under the bus, to be completely honest with you. But there needs to be an apology over here from Josh, but yet these people don't need to apologize. Okay, I get it. No, I understand it. Also, this isn't unprecedented. That's the part that strikes me the most. Of course, nobody does this. We literally just showed you a handful of different examples. We can keep going, by the way. And what made me upset yesterday, I mean, but was that clip yesterday from Galazzo America and Tom Bogert obviously giving his take, his side on exactly why this broke down, which is, again, Josh Sargent wants to be with his family. He now has 3 kids. He wants to come back to North America and be around his family. And the first response after that was said, right? Tom Bogert laid it out perfectly. He's like, he wants to go home. He wants to be around his family. He wants all these other things in order to just be closer to his people and continue his playing career. And the immediate response after that is, you're simply playing devil's advocate and you're just trying to sympathize with the guy. Like, there is no, that's what I mean when I say, Ryan, there is no reasoning with unreasonable people. There is no using logic with illogical minds. And these people are so maniacally against and opposed to anything American that even if you try to claim that, hey, it's because of my family, it's because I just want to go home, it's because I don't feel like I'm a good fit here, it is attacks on character, and it is assumptions. And that's all I see in these comment sections are blanket assumptions about how he's selfish, how he's this way, how he's that way, and you just roll over and accept the treatment that you get, and you continue playing. It is blatant and unfiltered hypocrisy. And what's interesting is that you guys want to talk about us like you want to attribute everything that's going on wrong in the world and say that we're wrong. And we're talking ball here, right? We're talking man playing game and everything else around that game. This is not a political conversation. This is not an economic conversation. This is a conversation about an individual in Josh Sargent who had his family insulted after months of not really wanting to be with this club and just go home and be with his family. If that reason alone is not enough for you to be like, oh, that's a perfectly good reason. He wants to be with his family. You're either not human and you're a robot, you've never had kids, or you're just, again, a self-centered European football fan who wants to, again, use hypocrisy to your advantage. And then you're going to lash out in our comment section and say that we're being this way or that we're arrogant or we're anything else along the lines. I hope that that y'all flame out in the World Cup. I really do. I hope you just absolutely flame out in the World Cup.
Talking England?
Because it's just,
I'm
talking anybody.
The rest of Europe.
The rest of Europe. All of you fools.
Jeez.
Clowns. Anyways,
look,
go ahead.
I'll just say this. I think Josh Sargent, because there's a lot of American athletes that would throw this out there, would throw exactly what happened on social media, hop on a podcast, hop on the Pat McAfee show just to explain their side of things. But Josh Sargent's been quite quiet in all this situation. And for people to say, oh, well, they're giving Norwich just a hard time, and, he's giving them such a short leash in terms of trying to find his replacement. I mean, the dude has scored like 2 goals in the last couple of months. And, again,
why is that his responsibility, too?
I mean, maybe the whole thing is going on in his head and is affecting his play. I don't know. But all I know is that this guy just wants to get out of here, wants to head home. But for Norwich City to come out here, a side that doesn't do anything in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scale of world soccer here, for them to just have the balls to say, you should apologize to us. Like, you can't be saying that. And then sitting on, and the English people just saying, like, this is the worst thing that a soccer player could do. I could think of 1,000 worse things that Josh Sargent could have done to a club or to the rest of the world or anything than to just say, yeah, I don't want to play. I want to go home. I have a family here. And, like, look, it's not that this player is – it's not that this player is a bad player or anything. He's wanted by other clubs. But he just wants to get out of here. And another thing is Toronto is going to have to pay a lump sum here to even get him. It's going to have to be $20 million plus at this point. But look, I think if you're Norwich, because they still want the player. That's the thing is they still want Sargent. That's why they're still making this a hard time, because at some point you still want the player to play for you, because if they didn't want him, he would have been gone weeks ago. He would have been gone as soon as the window opened. But that's not the case. They still want Josh Sargent to be on the team. They still want him. But the thing is they feel like they were somehow wronged because an American is standing up for themselves, standing up for them in the game of soccer, and they just want to head back to the MLS. And again, it's not saying the MLS is a bad league. We're not saying Sargent's a bad player. Don't twist it at all. We're just saying let the guy go home, for Christ's sake. Jeez.
Yeah. And I mean, it turns out I can't just like insult people and expect them to want to work for me. That's the groundbreaking news in my mind. I wasn't aware that you can just speak to people however you want to speak to people. And I think, honestly, it's a power play that Josh Sargent would want to come back to the U.S. and just give them the proverbial middle finger. Like, I don't need you guys. Like, I'm happy in life. I'm happy with what I got. Like, you think you're so special that you're going to come after my family and insult me personally in order to keep me around. Like, it is. I can't wait for the World Cup, man. That's all I'll say. I really can't wait. I hope this team really makes a statement, and I hope that we're able to tell these fools to shove it. Cause it's just, I hate this story. It bothers me. It bothers me deep down. But anyways, coming up next on Inside the Game, we're going to take a look at our projected starting 11 for the 2026 World Cup. Speaking of the World Cup, I know, Ryan, you got yours set. I got mine set as well. I was looking at a couple of different ones yesterday, but let's get into that on the other side here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
Letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
whether it's a championship win or a legendary play.
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
And start watching today.
Back live and Inside the Game, episode 214, final episode of this week. Wanted to say hi to anybody joining us here today. If you're in the Midwest, man, stay safe. If you don't need to go out and about, don't go out and about. It's about to get brutally cold around here. Actually, so bad that, at least here in Grand Rapids, the snow is getting deeper and the wind is getting colder, and I drive a car that is a little too light to get around in the heavy snow, so I've been hooking up rides left and right to get places this week. Just the reality of it, but make sure you stay safe out there. Get into our final topic here in segment number 1 of our show today, our projected starting 11 for the 2026 World Cup. These lists will change. It is inevitable that they will change before the World Cup starts in 26. Are you there? Can you hear me? I can't hear you, Ryan.
There we go. Yeah, I forgot. I can't.
There you go.
So
Hell
with
yeah.
the board over here, if I mute myself, like you can still hear me through the system. So I have to mute myself through the like I have to mute you. So it's a little different. Look at people. It's gonna change. It's gonna change.
All right.
We are 4 months away. There's gonna be a couple injuries. There's gonna be a couple people that are a couple players that are gonna turn it up at the right time, if you want to say it that. So it's going to change.
Yep.
We're going to be wrong. We are admitting that we're wrong. Not a lot of people in the world like to admit they're wrong anymore. So we are admitting that we are going to be wrong. We'll throw it up on social media today at some point, and on Instagram you can just check about the photo and you can go crazy in the comments.
Well, and the injuries too. I mean, that's the other thing that is obviously the main concern. And I'm a superstition guy. I don't like talking about things that I don't want to happen. I'll actually just knock 3 times on my desk just to make sure. But that's the other part of it too, right? Like we've had guys who have gone down for stretches of time that, you know, obviously need to figure all of that out. So we can't have any bad injuries going into all of this. But anyways, Ryan, feel free to present your starting 11.
Starting 11, here we go. So here's what I got. Again, I did this yesterday, so if it doesn't look good, my apologies. But we're going with the 3-4-3. It's the best formation that we could possibly have for the men's national team. But here's how we're rocking. We're going Matt Freese in net. He's our number 1. After this year, though, or after this World Cup cycle, don't be surprised if he ends up getting benched. There's a lot of young prospects that are doing pretty well, and I think could make a run for his money. All right, now we're going with the back 3. We're going left to right. We're going Tim Ream on the left. I think he has to start. It's a young group out there, but I think he has that little bit of veteran leadership. He's going to play 50, 60 minutes a game. I don't think his legs are going to be quite there, but I'm going with the man himself, the middle back, Chris Richards. That's right, U.S. Men's National Team Player of the Year. Can't do that. Chris Richards, the dog. All right, this one might cause a little controversy. All right, but I'm going with my man. I'm going with my guy. I said it. Noah Kai Banks. He's my guy. I don't care that he's 19. I don't care that he's going to be 19 years old during this. This guy's
All right.
playing week in, week out, 90 minutes every single game in the Bundesliga for Augsburg. I don't care what your age is at that point because you're balling out for them. You're balling out for us. I'm going with the 19-year-old. It's really weird if you think about it. You have such an old guy and such a young guy in the back line, and then you got Chris Richards, the anchor. All right, now I'm going with my double pivots. Tyler Adams. I know he's injured, but he's going to be back. He's going to be back. I'm going with Weston McKennie, who, again, underrated for Juventus. This guy's a dog. Going with these double pivots. And then with my wingbacks, I guess if you want to call it that, I got Serginho Dest and Jedi on the opposite sides of each other. I mean, it's a no-brainer for that. And then the front three, again, if I'm being completely honest, I'd like Pulisic in the middle, but he's going to be out on the left. We got Flo Balogun right up front, and then, or Balogun. And then on the right side, I got, as long as he doesn't punch anybody, I got Tim Weah on the right side, but that is my starting 11. I guess I could have put substitutes at the bottom, but you know what? We're not going that far. But that is my projected 11, and it's the right one. I don't care what people say. This is the right starting 11. It's going to happen.
All right. Yeah, you can't run around punching people, but there might be a justifiable reason to punch someone. You know, you never know, but... okay. Yeah, no, I see it. Do you think Noah Kai Banks is going to be able to handle the bright lights?
Dude, I don't think he's going to start, but he's my guy. I'm sticking by him. I know he's going to handle the big lights because you know what? He's been doing it all season. He's probably not going to start. It's going to be a Miles Robinson probably, but you know what? I'm sticking with my guy. He's my guy. I'm sticking with him. I'm going to die on that hill because he's been playing week in, week out. I think he's going to handle the bright lights fine. I mean, if we're giving John Brooks in the 2014 World Cup minutes, I mean, why can't we give him?
That's fair. And you're right. The combination of a 19-year-old and a vet, the way Tim Ream is out there, I think is interesting, but might be good for him if he's in this starting rotation. But taking a look, I guess, at my list and what we got going on for my starting 11 here and our projected 11 going into the 26 World Cup, there are fluctuations, a different formation than what Ryan has going on, playing a few more players back, albeit when we look at the left wing back and right wing back in our formation, they are defenders by name, but are they defenders by nature? Not necessarily all the time. Anthony Robinson and Serginho Dest, we're going to want them to get forward. So I think that's why we have them out wide in that position. Chris Richards, obviously, at center back to kind of anchor all that. Tim Ream, the savvy vet, in there as well. And then obviously you have Miles Robinson, who's been impressive as well. In the middle, for me, we're going to have obviously Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams stationed right in the middle. I agree with you that I would actually prefer to have Pulisic in the middle, but that's just not where they play him. They're going to play him out wide. Yeah. So obviously you're going to have him out wide on the left. Malik Tillman, who was the runner-up, one of the runner-ups for U.S. Men's National Team Player of the Year alongside Chris Richards. So he was nominated for that as well. And then you have Flo Balogun, who I think is far and away our number one striker right now, outside of Pulisic, but number one up top. For Flo, although I feel like he has cooled off a little bit in the club ranks. Is there a conversation that maybe Weston McKennie would be better to move around in a different spot? Probably not. I think he's better. I think he's best in where he is in the middle of the pitch. And then obviously, as you talked about, Matt Freese in goal. Now, off the top of my head, I don't know what goaltender or goalkeeper that is would be able to really push Matt Freese for the job. I'm just surprised we haven't seen Matt Turner at all. I mean, I know he's 31, and I know that obviously he's kind of been out of the conversation, but he was the guy under Greg Berhalter, and now we haven't seen anything from him in any international window. It's been Matt Freese the entire time from Gold Cup all the way to now, but I think that obviously Freese is our guy there. So I don't know if I would say more defensive heavy. Again, I'm telling you, we're going to get our wing backs forward and really kind of push the tempo here. So technically only really 3 back. But again, I think at least from what I was seeing and the different projections, and now mind you, this isn't mine. This was another one I came across that I just agreed with. But I think this could end up working out for us.
No, I like Malik Tillman a lot. I think he's going to be a really good, outstanding player for us. And I like that you bring, or that the wingers, that being Pulisic and Tillman, brought in a little bit. That's what the versatility of this U.S. men's national team team is. A lot of these players can play different positions. We've seen Tim Weah plays a right wing back. We've seen some of the midfielders play different positions. We've seen some people play strikers. You understand what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think eventually Miles Robinson will definitely take the backline spot of Noah Kai Banks. Noah Kai Banks is just my guy. I got to put him in there. Like, I can't be saying this and not put him in. I got to have him in 100%. But talking about the midfield, I think Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie, that's going to be when we win or lose games in the World Cup, because, look, we have a easier group than normal. I think those two are going to be integral for us, because at some point, if you want to make a run in a tournament, you got to have your midfielders score goals. And in Weston McKennie, he's doing that for Juventus as we speak. I think he scored in 3 straight Champions League games in recent time for Juventus, including this week. I mean, they're going to have to be so important. Mind you, Tyler Adams is injured at the moment, so again, we don't know quite what he's going to look like back, but he should be back in March at some point, which should give him plenty of time. But if there is Nate's got that weird sound going on like I did a couple days ago. Just looking around.
No, there's something that's, I think my curtain on the side of my room is opened up a little bit too much, so it looks like I'm on the surface of the sun at the moment. So it's a little bright in here.
Gotcha. But if there's a player that, because we had really similar starting 11s here. You, of course, had Tillman instead of Weah. You had Robinson instead of Noah Kai Banks. But if we're looking at this, is there? Let's just say that there's an injury that happens to one of these starters that aren't named a Weah, Tillman, or a Banks, or a Robinson. Who could break in what position if there's an injury? Like who is our 12th man? I guess you would say.
12th man off the bench right now for the U.S. men's national team. Maybe only because it's been a good run of form lately. I'm probably going to lean on Brendan Aronson. I also want to see more from Gio Reyna. What was great to see Gio Reyna in those last 2 games, those international windows. And I know we had some passionate arguments here on the podcast about whether or not Gio would be in the mix. And, JT made a personal guarantee that he would not be on the U.S. men's national team roster for the World Cup. And then he scores, 2 goals and then assists on another.
A goal and an assist.
Yeah, there you go. So anyways, but it's important to bring that up because, again, we just didn't see enough from Gio during that lead up to the new year. That's all we saw from him. Like, we didn't see him in the Gold Cup. We didn't see him in any of the lead up games to those final 2 before we took a break for the holidays. So we still, to this point, we don't know what he really has to offer. But I think my knee jerk reaction, like right off the top of my head, if you were to give me one, like who's our first man off, I would say Brendan Aronson. And I think he kind of speaks to what this U.S. men's national team is right now, which is the versatility component of the conversation. I think Aronson is one of those players that has a level of versatility to where you can move him around and he'll do just fine. So I think he's my first choice for the first man off the bench. I'm assuming you agree with that. I saw you nodding along.
I'd agree, but being a little bit different based on what I've been seeing the last couple of camps, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but I think Christian Roldan's going to be a player that comes off the bench and plays meaningful minutes for the U.S. I mean,
you're going with an MLS guy.
Yeah, I know, but he's been put in a lot of spots. I also think of a guy another MLS guy, Max Arston. For some reason, those 2 players are really well liked by Pochettino. It's not that I would necessarily agree with it, but again, they are put in these positions a lot, and then they're making some stuff happen. So I would go Christian Roldan as in that double pivot spot. Maybe if Tyler Adams isn't 100% back by the time the World Cup starts, maybe he's just a bad run of form for him. But again, also, I forgot to point this out. Look who's my captain in this. Just look who my captain is. Again, I forgot. When I was making that list, I was like, I gotta put him as my captain. I have to. Tyler Adams. Here, let me put myself on the one spot here. Tyler Adams has to be the captain of this U.S. men's national team. I don't care about, Christian Pulisic's our best player. Christian Pulisic's doing this, and that. Pulisic's not a leader. The way he acted this summer is not what a leader does. I know Adams didn't play in the Gold Cup this year. I understand that. But Adams does not go out into the media, go out into podcasts and say, well, he said this, he said that, I can't have this. Like, Tyler Adams goes out there, he gets his job done. He goes out, works hard. He says when he does go on podcasts, he goes out and says, we ain't scared of them. We're making a run. We're doing this. We're going to do that. We ain't scared of nobody. That's what I want in my captain. I'm not saying Pulisic is scared of anyone per se in an international team, but him going out there and making some little podcast or making a little Paramount little documentary, and him and Tim Weah saying, they're so mean for Tim Howard and Landon Donovan for saying this. Everyone's so mean. You know what? It's just rat poison, as Nick Saban likes to say. You go out there, get the job done, quit bitching, and what does Tyler Adams do? He does none of that and gets his job done. Tyler Adams must be the captain of this U.S. men's national team.
Well done. Welcome to Ryan's TED Talk. What about Chris Richards?
Oh, again, he's good too. I like Adams. I like Adams more personally because I also personally like my captain being a midfielder. That's just my own personal thing. But I wouldn't mind Chris Richards being the captain. All I gotta say is this: Pulisic should not be the captain, and it kind of feels like the American way to just make the best player your captain. Like, I don't know if you feel that way, Nate, but like I feel like in a lot of American sports, the best player is always the captain, whatever sport you're playing, whether that's collegiately, whether that's in the high school levels, whether that's professionally. But I feel like that we are just making Pulisic the captain because he's Christian Pulisic and he's our best player. Yeah. Like, look, I'm not saying
it's by default.
Like, I'm not saying we don't need him. Like, we absolutely need him. Pulisic is our dog. He's an absolute dog, probably the best player in Serie A right now if we're going based on stats. But he is not the captain material, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But sometimes your best player is not your best leader. Sometimes your best leader is the guy that no one really talks about, that he does all the scrappy work, and Adams and Richards both do that. I prefer Adams personally, but I'm just saying, Adams or Richards needs to be the captain, and it can't be Christian Pulisic going into the World Cup because that just feels like we're doing the old thing over again.
Yep. And it just seems like a by default kind of decision now for the U.S. men's national team. Like, he's our best player. But to your point, and we've said this before, and it's why I said earlier, and like months ago, there can be a team that leads by committee. Like, they don't have to have the one guy, the one face of the team. We know who the best player is, but I would almost prefer a squad that is willing to lead by example and by committee. Just lead from the front. I don't care who it is. Like, it might be a Chris Richards this day. Tim Ream might speak up and say something. You can lead by committee. It doesn't just have to be one guy. So, no, completely agree with that. So, anyways, those are projected 11. As Ryan said, he's going to put them up on social media, so you guys will have a chance to check that out. But we'll take a break here and just call us ridiculous and everything you want to call us. Just unload the way you guys normally do in the comments section. We love it. Coming up next and Inside the Game, we're going to talk a little horse racing. I have a very personal special friend that follows the show, so we're going to talk about Sovereignty winning Horse of the Year. Just a little 5-minute segment. Cool, but before we head to break, again, we were talking about those soccer camps that are coming here stateside. Man City is bringing their soccer camp. Also, Barca Academy. And there is a way that you can get involved. Barca Academy is a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States. Designed for boys and girls ages 6 to 18, Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model, game philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30. Again, that's FCB30. Scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I sing my song Grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca camp.
Back live on Inside the Game, Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky, episode number 214 here on Inside the Game. Again, final one of this week. Wanted to touch on this really quickly as we get into our all sports content, and I'm talking all sports here. One of the things on my bucket list, Ryan, and it always has been on my bucket list, that's to go to the Kentucky Derby. Not necessarily for the races themselves, but for the experience and everything else around it. Like, you get dressed up, and I mean really dressed up, like to the nines. I don't know if you've ever actually like watched the entire thing, but it's crazy. Don't know if I'm going to bet on a horse necessarily because, you know, my luck with betting has never really been all that great. I know that's kind of a win in Rome type thing, so that's kind of just how it goes. But Sovereignty crowned Horse of the Year at the Eclipse Awards. The 3-year-old male earlier in the evening ascended to racing's most prestigious honor in receiving that one. The Horse of the Year outcome reflects the authority in which Sovereignty has controlled North American 3-year-old male division from spring through late summer. The colt becomes the second Horse of the Year for owner and breeder Godolphin in 3 seasons. So 2 out of 3 for the same trainer. And tell you what, Ryan, that's a fast horse. Tell you what, that horse can cook.
What type of hat would you wear? Like, because they always got the funky hats. What type of hat would you wear to the Kentucky Derby? Because I don't wear hats.
Like probably one of those Abe Lincoln hats. One of the big.
Oh, you can't do that. Things. You gotta get like something. You gotta get something better than that. You can't.
Come on.
You can't walk into
Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
You can't walk into the Kentucky Derby looking like Abe Lincoln. You already got the beard. You can't do that. You got to have some aura, Nate. You got to go out there, have some aura. Nice little suit. Obviously, you got to have a cooler hat. Like maybe something like not a detective.
What about the golf? What about like the golf cap, the old school golf cap?
Yeah, you got to do that. You got to do
that.
Yeah,
there you go.
You would really look like a Peaky Blinder. That'd be so sweet.
Yeah, and like a green suit.
If you want to walk, if green's your color, go for it. But I'm just saying, you can't walk in with you automatically lose aura. You automatically lose
man.
it.
That's just the first thing that came to mind, but yeah, I agree. I actually have one of those. It's buried down deep somewhere, but yeah.
No, you should rock that. See, I personally wouldn't wear a hat because I look like a 3-year-old kid in a hat, and I don't want to look like that, and I wouldn't do that. But no, you cool hat. It just I feel like the aura of the Kentucky Derby is pretty sweet. I used to watch that thing a lot as a kid, like just the Kentucky Derby, and I picked a couple people. There's a California horse, like his name was California something. I don't remember.
California Dreamin'?
Yeah, because I think he won the triple, or that her whatever the horse is won the Triple Crown. I think that year. I don't recall, but no, There's a time where I was so me and my cousins and I, excuse me for the grammar police. When we were little, one of my cousins' birthdays was always they always had the party that Saturday of the Kentucky Derby, and we all technically bet on horses because our parents just bet money, but they said it was us. So we'd pick a horse, they'd place it for us, and we'd all we could have been doing anything. Everyone could have been doing something different, but once the Kentucky Derby was put on, we're sitting in front and we're looking at it. We're like, go, 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 go.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
Picked a couple winners in my time, but I haven't paid attention to. I might have to start paying attention again. Here in a little bit because I haven't paid attention the last couple of years.
What would you name your horse?
Ooh, what would I name my horse? I would name it Christian Pulisic.
I would get a stallion and name him Connor.
Ooh. Speaking of that, you see Jesse Jesse Minter's the head coach of the Ravens?
Yeah.
So you're telling me
absolutely wild. Yeah.
So you're telling me during the sign stealing era, they had 3 NFL head coaches. And one of them I think is going to win the Super Bowl at this point. I think they're the best at they play the Rams. That'd be a good game. I still think they win though. Really more of that later in the show. But no, Connor and then a stallion. Okay. I don't know. You put me on the spot like I did with the hat. So I would say, if anything, Gosh, that's a good question.
Some fun ones. Just make it as random as possible too, because remember those are horse names. Like they're just the most random
Journalism?
things you ever think of.
I would
Journalism.
I would name it Inside the Game.
Nice. Inside the Game, the podcast wins
Yeah.
the Kentucky Derby, and then
Inside the Game on the inside. Inside the Game has won the Kentucky Derby.
You're gonna make life a living hell for whatever broadcaster has to call that as he's ripping up the inside. Inside the Game. Oh.
Inside the Game is moving on the inside. Here we go. Connor Stallions is on the move.
That's pretty good. Hey, I mean, you ever think about getting into horse racing play-by-play? It's pretty good.
I do now.
You got the ring.
I do now.
I just imagine they're just auctioneers. They're glorified auctioneers with headsets on. But anyways,
moving on the inside, they turn around, they turn corner 2. Inside the Game is in the lead of just ahead of Connor Stallions. Now they move into turn 3.
Going once, going twice.
Inside the Game wins. Jeez,
Stop making me laugh. Anyways,
Inside the Game wins the Kentucky Derby. I hope your aunt liked my play-by-play.
She did. She will love that. So shout out Aunt Bridget for that one. But moving on to our first topic here of the All Sports edition. Well, I guess our second topic, where maybe 1.5. Who knows? Ryan, I know we want to talk about the NFL here coming up in a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think we have a graphic made for this necessarily, but it's not really all that necessary in my mind. I think it's something that we can just start the conversation on and then see where it goes from there. You're talking about Kyle Tucker with the Dodgers. Now, we had already posted a clip on our social media mentioning how, $2.1 billion in guaranteed money that has to be paid out by the Dodgers is $800 million more than even the second closest team in Major League Baseball. The second closest team is also a team that shares the state of California, and that's the San Diego Padres. Now, obviously, the Mets are up there as well. The Mets are over $1 billion. So that's three different Major League Baseball teams that are over $1 billion. Well, yeah, and it's the Mets, right? So, I'm not saying that the Mets have a competitive advantage because they just find a way to choke. But either way, it's starting to get ridiculous and it's starting to get out of hand. But you had mentioned something that the Dodgers did when it came to Kyle Tucker's contract, and it's not the first time they've done it. They use this strategy more aggressively than any other team in Major League Baseball, but it's not that 64 million number is a little confusing because he's going to get it, but the way he's going to get it is different. So go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, how is he getting $1 million a year? How? How is he getting $1 million a year, and then he's getting a $64 million bonus? How? That doesn't make sense. What are the Dodgers? What are these loopholes? Again, it's not the Dodgers. Again, I'm not saying it's the Dodgers' fault that they're exploiting loopholes in the system. That's not their fault. That is kind of their job, if you really think about it. That is kind of their job to take advantage of every situation and give yourself the best advantage to win a championship, that being the World Series. And also, Shohei Ohtani's making $2 million a year, but he gets $70 million a year in 20 years. But how does Kyle Tucker, a guy of this caliber, make $1 million a year, and then he's getting a $64 million signing bonus? That doesn't make sense. I mean, Andy Ibanez is making $1 million. That makes sense. Andy Ibanez is making $1.2 million with the Dodgers. Now, that makes sense. But a player of Kyle Tucker's caliber? $1 million a year?
Yeah.
I mean,
64 in the signing bonus. It's a signing bonus.
This is why
that's the overt majority of the money that he's going to be paid as a signing bonus. And the reason why, I think, is because on the books, it's only $1 million a year. You can therefore justify it with the rest of the money that you're paying out, guaranteed money that you're paying out to everybody else on that roster. There's a loophole. There's a financial loophole. And so the question was brought up by you earlier today. Should there be a hard cap in Major League Baseball? Again, all these things in theory sound great, right? In my mind, as a fan of this game, and I think a lot of other people who are just fans and people that buy tickets. Now, obviously, I work in minor league baseball, but I don't work in Major League Baseball, and I still like to go watch games and be a fan and experience that side of things.
Yeah, but Bluey doesn't come out to the Comerica Park.
Yeah, he does. Bluey was there the last time I was there.
Oh,
I
does
think
he?
this summer.
I really
or
haven't
he
been
was
to a
there.
Tigers game.
He was at Wrigley. I don't know, but you ain't gonna see him if he's at Wrigley because there's 80,000 other people in there. But anyways, for fans, in terms of competitive balance, this is something that I think we would all like to see. I think we would like to see organizations that have more means like the Dodgers, not just be able to have carte blanche over every single player that they want. Someone actually commented under our video yesterday. I mean, it was a paragraph, dude. Like, I ain't reading all of that. Like, if you're going to leave a comment, leave a couple of sentences max, okay? Like, really summarize it.
Like, you could just say that.
But it's just deflecting. It's all it is. It's just deflecting. Well, the Dodgers did this, and they did this, and that's the reason why that they're in the position that they're in. No, they're in the position that they're in because everybody is benefiting from this minus the fans. Players are making more money. Owners are making more money. Organizations like the Dodgers, they don't have to worry about penalties for spending more money than God himself and every other organization. Everybody is benefiting from the game of baseball becoming more expensive and more money being spent than the fans. The fans are the only ones that are looking at this and going, this is ridiculous. How am I supposed to even care about what's going to happen this year if we all know what the end is going to be? The team who spends the most money is probably going to go win a World Series. I can't go to X amount of games a year because it costs this amount of money. Everything is becoming more expensive. And this isn't an everything is more expensive rant. All this is saying is that, again, everybody involved in this is benefiting minus the fans. And I don't understand why it's so hard for people to understand this. And also, you can't compare the major league model to any other sports model. People want to talk about TV revenue and sharing some of these things, and the larger markets have to share with the little guy like they do sometimes in the National Football League. This is not the National Football League. It's not the NBA.
To soccer. It's the only one
not the NHL. Maybe you can compare it to soccer. That's probably the one that's the closest comparison to it. Does Major League Soccer have a salary cap?
European soccer you can compare it to. I don't think the MLS does.
Yeah. So, I mean, so that's the big question. And I was reading up on this, and someone left a comment, and they go, that's, again, fine and dandy. How do you convince MLBPA, the Players Association, that this is a good idea? How do you go to someone like Kyle Tucker, who just signed this contract, and say this is a good idea? How do you go to Juan Soto, who signed his contract, or we could talk about Mike Trout or Bryce Harper when he inked his deal? How do you go to any of these players and go, hey, you know what a good idea is? A salary cap, so that these organizations can't pay you the astronomical amount of money that we could probably put like 3 million students through college for free for 4 years for the amount of money they're paying you. But that we're going to take that out of your pocket. You can't make that much money. How are you going to convince anybody of that? And so that's why when we talk about the bargaining agreement eventually being up, I don't think a lockout is just maybe. I think a lockout is inevitable. It's going to happen. And so this is one of those things that they're going to have to talk about, but I don't see anything changing. And the reason why, Ryan, the only way that this changes, the only way that Major League Baseball moves away from this and creates a system that's more, again, quote unquote, fair with a hard salary cap is if fans stop spending money. If fans stop showing up to games. Exactly. And this is the part, as a fan, you really have to find it in you and be able to create maybe a group or something that stands up for what's right and that refuses to go to games. But again, that's not going to happen. Reason why that's not going to happen is because most people that go to baseball games are not really there for the baseball games, if I'm being completely honest. They're going there for the food. They're going there for the dog. They're going there for the beer. They're going there for, again, Bluey and Bingo's ass who just showed up, an hour ago, and they're signing autographs. That's why people are going to the games. I don't think anybody, they're not mad enough. We're not mad enough as a fan base of baseball to change anything.
Look, you want to know why I'm at the Tigers game? Pepsi porch at Comerica Park, sitting up there with my friends, talking, not paying attention, tin roof afterwards. That's what I'm there for. That's what I'm there for. It basically is, but no, like look at that's why if you look at a baseball stadium, you look at the top because people buy those tickets, but they never actually sit there. Like I think I bought tickets last time I was there. I bought a ticket for like the last row, and for like $10. I never even sat in the seat. I just went there. Excuse me, to the Pepsi porch. Just sitting there. To answer your question about the MLS, they do have a soft salary cap, so there is a budget, but then there's certain rules where you can get around it based on like age and targeted money or whatever. So not really is how I would answer it. But for the baseball point, there ain't going to be baseball in 2027. Like there is not going to be a baseball season in the MLB standards. I don't know how that affects minor league baseball, but again, maybe I'll go to some Whitecap games. Maybe I'll pop out to those during the summer of 2027. Which, mind you, for the people
you should
at home,
either way.
you
don't need a lockout to do that.
For any baseball fans out there, you guys don't want to watch baseball? The World Cup's happening in 2026. Support your U.S. men's national team. Grow the game of soccer. I'm just putting it out there. Depressing.
You keep looking over there, man. It ain't gonna come back.
It's depressing. But I'll say that. But no, I'm just putting it out there. You can watch the World Cup. You know what? Maybe we will take a break. We'll continue the discussion on the other side of the break. Let's continue the discussion on the other side of the break. We'll stick with the salary cap. We'll get some more opinions. But let's talk about Man City.
All right, getting into our Man City read here today. Man City Soccer Camps, proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, as always, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels. Camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30. Again, that's MCNSN30. Scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, usacamps.mancity.com. Back live and Inside the Game, episode 214. Doing okay there, buddy?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Got people moving around you again?
Yeah, let's talk some baseball still. Oh, jeez. Sorry. This has been a wacky show today. It's been all laughs. I hope you guys are laughing along with us about how stupid we are. Sorry. Yeah, baseball. Dodgers suck. I hate them. Watch the World Cup instead. So my point is there ain't gonna be no baseball in 2027. Especially if the Dodgers especially if the Dodgers win the World Series again. And again, I'm not saying blame the Dodgers for all of this because it's simply a flaw in the MLB system. They're simply just exploiting it. Any team could do what the Dodgers are currently doing. The Dodgers don't have to. The Tigers could have done it. The Twins could have done it. The Guardians could have done it. The Reds could have done it. Anyone could have done this, It's just that the Dodgers found a loophole and got it done. So don't blame it. Like, look, Michigan found a loophole with Connor Stallions. It's not Michigan's fault. It's just a loophole in the system. But all I'll say is this. How in the, like, I don't know how nobody thought of this sooner. How can you, buy players for cheap now, but tell them in 10 years when you're actually retired, you might be hurting for money a little bit. Yeah, you'll get $20 million a year for just sitting at home. Like, how did nobody think of this before?
Deferred payments. Yeah. I mean, it has been a thing. The reality is that no one has used it as aggressively as the Dodgers.
Okay.
Like that's really kind of what it comes down to. Now, if you're asking why doesn't every organization do this, I don't know. Does every organization have $2.1 billion available to them? I mean, if that's the case, then you're right. Like but I think that logic of saying, well, if we do it, why can't you do it? I think it just falls short because I think there's more access to resources in certain parts of the country. I think there's more access to other things. Also, where is this money coming from? There really is no sort. I mean, I understand that we know who the ownership group is, right? So we can trace the money if we want to. But those are also the big questions. The other thing, Ryan, and I just wanted to mix this in really quick. You got a comment?
No, there's just some breaking news that the College Football Playoff will stay at 12 teams. I know there was talks about being 16 teams or 20 teams, whatever, but it'll stay at 12.
Yeah, we could definitely talk about that at some point. Maybe after the next break. I know we got to get into NFL stuff too, but very quickly, baseball. The thing about it is maybe from a participation perspective is not where it used to be in the United States. And the reason being is because just how expensive it is. It really truly is continuing to get more expensive, mostly because the little leagues are dying away. The travel ball is becoming more prevalent. And in order to be in the leagues that are going to give you an opportunity to be in a position to move on, you have to play and you have to pay. It's starting to adopt a pay-to-play model, more like the game of soccer, right? But from a participation perspective, we already talked about it. It's already outpaced baseball in that regard. Even from a popularity perspective, it has outpaced baseball. However, when it comes to the domestic game, baseball is still growing and exponentially in terms of viewership and consumerism. It's actually growing. Absolutely. Well, just that, the base stealing, how many times you can check over. I mean, every little change that they're making is just continuing to, I wouldn't say improve the game, but improve the popularity of the game. So it's
go towards the
growing.
casual fan like myself.
Right. It's growing. It's getting younger fans. Obviously add in the Japanese market. It continues to get more international.
They're robots.
They're robots in a lot of ways. But MLB's national television partners registered double-digit growth in the 18 to 34-year-old category. Percentage of ticket buyers ages 18 to 35 jumped 8.5% in the last year. In 2024 Major League Baseball season, they recorded the largest attendance in 7 years, so since 2017, with over 71 million people attending games. So this is what this is meant to say is that the game is becoming more popular with a younger crop of fans. More people are spending money. And with this machine, Major League Baseball is not going to find any sort of reason to justify switching around their financial model or the way that they deal with money. There's just absolutely there's no real reason for them to sit down and go, hey, we need to switch this around. Because again, like I said before we went to break, everybody is benefiting from it. In some ways, yeah, the game of baseball has slowed down, but I think it's mostly older fans who are kind of tuning it out for the same reason that they're tuning out the NBA, the same reason that they're tuning out all these other leagues. The game itself has changed, right? And they hate that. They hate change. They hate that it's played differently now than what it was before. But that's the hard part, is that the game continues to grow. More younger people are spending more money. And so there's nothing really pushing the league to be like, we need a hard cap now. They're not going to force parity. That's just not what Major League Baseball does.
Yeah, the only way they'll establish it is when all the teams and owners be like, yeah, we got to do this. That's the only way for change. Because if I'm a league commissioner of whatever league, MLB, NHL, NFL, whatever, I ain't changing nothing if it's working for me in the pocket. If it works for me that way, if the money just continues to flow and I don't have to change anything, I'm not changing anything until the owners want something changed and they start saying we need change. That's the only way change happens. In another way is if fans stop going, but we know that's not going to happen because they like their summer weekends at the park and not necessarily watching the game. They're just there for, like myself, at the Pepsi Porch at America Park, which again, great addition to the park. But no, the only way that there's only two things that can happen is if the owners say something or if the fans stop going. And we know one's not going to happen, so it has to be with the owners. Because, like, again, anyone can say sell the team. Anyone can say or just like the team sucks. But people still go to stuff. And, I mean, NHL teams, NBA teams, MLB teams, like, you might not see a ton of people at the games every single time. But, like, when Lions fans were saying sell the team, dude, you guys packed out Ford Field, my guy. You still got it done. So, but no, yeah. I do hope at some point that we do see a salary cap in terms of the MLB, because I just think that this is crazy to me, that the fact that a guy of Kyle Tucker's, a player like him and Shohei Ohtani are getting less than $5 million a year, and let's just throw it down the line or just give you a massive tiny bonus. That's just crazy to me. And I'm telling you, Todd Boehly has got to be a money launderer at this point. Like, since he's taken over Chelsea, he spent over like $2 billion. And then we're doing this now with the Dodgers. Where does this come from, Todd?
Yeah.
Todd, where? Yeah. Like, I want to know where this money's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be a fly on the wall in like a Todd Boehly like money management situation. Like, do people not realize that, like, if we think about it, bugs have like so much information that like people don't, that human beings can't fathom? Like, you just think about it. Like, bugs have the most information because they're somehow in the vicinity of these powerful conversations.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I don't know if they're paying attention necessarily.
Probably not, but I'm just saying.
They're in there, for sure.
They've been in some situations.
So we should bug the bugs is what you're telling me. We should but the only issue is like, how do we catch the bug then? That's the problem.
Yeah.
Then we got to like chase them through the vents and try to find them and not kill them when we capture them.
Yeah.
But all right, I like the idea of bugging the bugs. No, that's a good idea. Actually, let's go to Dodgers HQ. I'm going to try and land a job with the LA Dodgers, maybe in their front office or somewhere else. And I'm just going to put little cameras and microphones all around the room just so that we can get an idea as to what laundromat they're using in order to launder all this money, or what other business could be a front. It could be a laundromat, could be
casino.
A drive and shine, could be a casino.
If you watch the Ozarks,
I don't
they'll
know.
tell you casino's the best way.
Well, you like your old school mafia movies, right? Have you seen any of the Goodfellas or the Godfather, given your old taste? And
no Godfathers. I've never watched because
Godfathers? Really?
Yeah, because whenever
that's when you got to get on.
So whenever I planned on watching it, something always came up, and then when I went back to it, it wasn't on the streaming service that I was trying to watch it on. I was like, let's wait till the next one. Goodfellas I've seen, though. Henry Hill always be snitching on people, man.
Always be snitching. But yeah, man, I agree. I don't see how it can change, but it is an interesting conversation. Quickly before we take our second break here in the second hour, so the college football playoff staying at 12 teams as their format in the years moving forward. Ryan, I already kind of shared my opinion on this. I think 8 should be the max. I think once we start to get beyond that, we start to include teams that it's what's really hard to me. And I'll say this is that when you look at Tulane or James Madison or any of those schools, realistically, there is, until someone actually proves me wrong on this, I just don't think those teams, the 11s or the 12s, have any realistic chance of going out and winning a national championship.
But if it messes up Michigan State, Notre Dame, or Ohio State making the playoffs, I'm all for it.
That's fair. I'll give it to you. I just think it should be the top 12 teams in the country, right? So we can talk about that. But the hard thing is, and I know I kind of got up on my high horse before the playoffs actually began, Miami making it to the national championship, I think, has changed a lot of people's minds on the way that this format works. right? It'd be one thing if the teams we expected to dominate just went out and dominated, and it was a number 1 and a number 2 meeting up in the national championship. I think we'd be having a very different conversation right now than what we are. But Miami themselves finding a way to get through Ohio State and get through who they needed to get through to make the national championship game, and then creating that matchup. Indiana, I wouldn't say they were a given, but if you're the number 1 team in the country going in, well, then I don't know if that's as much of a shock.
Well,
but Miami making it.
Indiana's the only team with a bye to ever win a game. I mean, I know it's been 2 years, but
Right.
the bye teams are 1-7. I still think it's a flaw. Again, I think Monday we should have. I think Monday for our all sports we should talk about the scheduling, because I have a ton of ideas about the scheduling. I think the current 12-team schedule format is flawed based on everything, based on facts. But I'm telling you, I think we need to have a scheduling, because I already have my ideas for how the schedule should go. I know we got NFL to get to and all that fun stuff. But you have to fix it. All starts with the schedule. Like, people can say the 12-team playoff format is flawed. Well, it's flawed to begin with just the schedule. You're telling me that a team that has a bye doesn't have to play for a whole month, but the teams in the first round don't have to wait a whole month. They get to wait like 2 weeks. I get it. We'll do the better team. And, you had a 14 playoff where everyone had a month off to begin with. But that's different because all those 4 teams were playing at the same time. Now you have, 8 teams? Yeah, 8 teams that are playing 2 weeks before that the last 4 teams have to play. So there's a massive advantage. That's why we've seen Ole Miss beat Georgia. We've seen Texas Tech lose to Oregon. Who's the other one who did Indiana end up playing in the? Or no, Miami beating Ohio State, and then you fast forward the year before, Ohio State beats Oregon, Penn State beats Boise, and all that fun stuff. They go 0-4. So there's a flawed system, but it's you can say it's a flawed system, but you know what? It's flawed because of the scheduling aspect. That's the flawed part. And I agree with you that 8 teams should have been the max, but that's just a fantasy world because that doesn't do this for the NCAA and all the TV rights. And I think if we're going off reality, it'll be 16 at some point. It's just a matter of time. But I think the 8's the right way to go. But I've got some solutions for Monday on how to fix the whole college football playoff format and all that fun stuff, because there's some massive easy things that can change too.
Man's got some ideas. We'll definitely talk about that coming up on Monday. But coming up next here on Inside the Game, we're going to talk a little NFL playoffs. And then, of course, we'll get into our question of the day here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
Letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
whether it's a championship win or a legendary play.
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
And start watching today.
Back Inside the Game, episode 214, getting into our final segment before question of the day here on the show, talking a little NFL playoffs, the championship between, AFC and NFC championships coming up here very shortly. And I think it's going to be an exciting matchup. We talked about it already here on the show. We're convinced that whoever emerges out of the NFC is more than likely going to win the Super Bowl. But I guess that leaves me with asking you, when you look at these two matchups, I'll give you the floor. Who are you thinking on either side as we head into championship matchups, and then obviously the Super Bowl?
What I think is this is the worst NFC AFC title game weekend of all time. That's all I would have to say to begin with. No, if I'm looking again, they're going to be toss-ups. Like, don't get me wrong. I still think that the Patriots and the Broncos are talented. But when you have a backup quarterback in the Broncos, and then you have on the Patriots side a team that I think is relatively mid based on who they've played up to this point, you look at their playoff run, the Chargers sucked because of one reason. The offensive line died. They lost both of their tackles. Then you think of the Texans, C.J. Stroud. The signs really didn't matter, if I'm being completely honest, in big games with C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, and you put him in cold weather, he can't get it done. He throws like 5 picks or whatever it is. Look, the guy sucked. So you played that. Drake May simply did not have to do anything the last 2 weeks. All he had to do was not F up. That's all Drake May had to do the last 2 weeks. He just didn't have to. Basically, Vrabel goes, Drake, just don't mess up. You're going to get into the AFC Championship game. Just don't mess up. Play the game. Hand the ball off to Travion. Hand the ball off to the other running back, Stevenson. I forgot his name for a second. Look, that's all you had to do. Just don't mess up. Don't throw picks. Don't turn the ball over. That's all you had to do. You're in the AFC Championship game. Then look at the Broncos. It should really be the Patriots versus the Bills, if we're being completely honest. But the Broncos have a very good defense. I'll tell you that. I think they have a phenomenal defense. They got the home crowd with them as well. If I'm being honest, I think we're going to see the Broncos win. I think it's going to be like 16-13. Each team is going to score 1 touchdown. It's going to be an awful football game, but somehow Jarrett Stidham's going to lead them like 30 yards down the field because of a bad punt by the Patriots. Stidham's going to lead them 30 yards down the field. He's going to get to like the 30-yard line. They're going to kick it. They're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl, and then just for them to get pounded by the Seahawks, because the Seahawks are going to beat the Rams simply because Mike McDonald's a dog. And what does Sam Darnold not have to do? He ain't got to do much, simply because Charbonnet's out. Kenneth Walker is going to be a dog, even though I hate saying that. You got A.J. Barner at the tight ends. You have Jackson Smith and Jigba out wide. Look, the Seahawks are going to win this thing. The Rams, I think I hate the Rams now because of the fact that they're going to win. They could win a second Super Bowl, and the Lions not even been to one based on all the trades and everything. But I personally think that the Rams are going to lose, and it's going to be Seattle. Oh, crap. I didn't even realize it. That's going to be a rematch of the Super Bowl a couple years ago with Russell Wilson and Peyton Manning. The same thing's going to happen. The Seahawks are going to kill the Broncos in the Super Bowl. That's what I'm going to go with. Seahawks dominating. And the Broncos.
Yeah, it really does. It really does reek of one of those matchups where like one weird play will kind of decide everything, whether that be like a special teams play or a turnover or something along those lines. Like, these are just two teams that are just, especially in the AFC side, that are just coming into this just banged up, missing key pieces. Like, it feels like a stumble to the finish kind of situation. Again, if you get into the Super Bowl, anything can happen. Now, you just got to win one game. That's all that matters. But I think being at home for Denver is the biggest thing they have going for them. This defense has looked better, but not having Bo Nix does make a huge difference in my mind. And again, you talked about Drake May. Really, the inconsistent quarterback play throughout the course of the year has been the thing that we've always been looking at. He doesn't have to be special to win this game. He just has to be serviceable. He just has to do his job well. And most importantly, Ryan, and I think you kind of hinted towards this, don't turn the football over. If you don't turn the football over and you play serviceable and you play well, and also if you keep the football away from this Denver offense, they're not really going to be able to score. And this isn't a team that I think is well equipped to really push the ball down the field, especially while missing their number one quarterback. And we mentioned the inconsistencies on the offensive line, and obviously that rolls out to everybody else on that team. I'm going to go a different direction. I think the Pats pull it out. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think it's going to be a late bad break for one of the two teams, but I think that they're going to find a way to at least eke it out, because I just think Denver, unfortunately, at this point, they've been able to just skate by. They've been able to skate by with what they have, despite some of the injuries, and obviously Bo Nix being the most notable of them in this postseason. But I just think the Pats have it in them to pull it out in the very waning moments of that game. But it is. I think it's a one-score game. I think it's close. I think it would be anywhere within 7 to maybe 3 points. I don't think it's going to be a blowout necessarily on either side of things. But it's going to be a close ball game, but I think the Pats pull it out. On the other side for the Seahawks, man, I have not seen a defense that ferocious for this organization since the Legion of Boom. I mean, they're great. So I think it's weird to think that there's like a far and away favorite in this NFC matchup, but I'm going with the Hawks on the other side in the NFC in order to make it to the Super Bowl. So I think it's Hawks. I think it's Pats. And then, you talk about a Super Bowl rematch. That'd be really fun to watch. And hopefully they just hand the ball off if they need to.
Like, I think the only combination where you can't have a Super Bowl rematch of like anything in the 2010s would be the Broncos and Rams. Let's see if the Broncos and Rams have ever played each other in the in the playoffs. But no, like, because you think about it, Seahawks, Patriots have played each other. Rams, Patriots have played each other. Shout out our guy Jared Goff. And then you see the Broncos and Seahawks obviously have played each other. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, I will say
they have not. They have not played each other.
Yeah. And I'd say with all that being said, winning on the road in the postseason is not easy. But if there's one team that's proven that they can do it, it was the Rams and what they did in Chicago. So I mean, they're road warriors
and the Panthers.
I think the Panthers, but the Seahawks are a far different team, much better roster altogether than what Chicago was. So I don't know. And obviously Seattle is going to be far different than what Chicago is during this time of the year. But either way, I think it's Seahawks. I think it's Pats.
Yeah, I was just about to say, could you imagine if the Bears played, like if the Bears played the Niners, like how bad the weather would have been?
Yeah.
Like, because obviously Sunday would be it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're looking at like negative 40? You serious about that?
Ooh. Wind chill?
Yeah, with wind chill and everything. You're looking at what it feels like.
I mean, I don't doubt it. Yeah,
Like,
I don't doubt it. I mean, with the wind blowing off Lake Michigan there. I kid you not. Go to a Chicago sporting event during the summer. If you sit far enough up in the stands to where you're getting that breeze off of Lake Michigan, it's brutal. It's brutal. I think it was 75 the last Cubs game that I went to, and I was cold.
Really?
I don't know how that's possible. Yes, because of the wind blowing off the Lake Michigan. And you got the overhang, too, so you're kind of in the shade. But, I mean, just blistering. And it's just, it doesn't make it. Well, it does make sense if you've been to Chicago. Obviously, they call it the Windy City, but they're not messing around when they say that. It is windy 24/7.
Yeah,
it never stops.
Negative 17 right now in Chicago. Gee, what it feels like. Man, I'm kind of happy being
exploding
in Detroit
trees
based off that. Or I shouldn't say
exploding
Detroit,
trees.
Well,
what is it? Well, what is it? Metro Detroit right now. What is it in Shelby Township, Michigan?
I don't know. So that's another thing. Like my house, New Baltimore, it'll all drop. Like you could be out here in Shelby and you go back and it drops like 5 degrees. So I guess you are right on that aspect with the Chicago with the Chicago and the whole Lake Michigan thing. Jeez, 1 degree. Feels
at least
like
you got one, dude.
Feels like that was this morning. It felt like negative 13. Jeez. 2 degrees. 2 degrees. My bad. 2 degrees. Feels like negative 17. Wow. That's thank God I have a parking pass for the Michigan game. That's parking nice and close based on what my family gave me. Whew.
Yep. Well, at least the ice rink for me tonight will actually be far warmer than what it is outside. So that's typically not the case, but tonight it will be the case. Davenport and Trine, ACHAD2.
I guess
catching on Flow Sports.
Ooh, catch it there. I guess we kind of talked about everything. We got a lot of time to kill here. One thing that I just saw recently. It's the Pistons, obviously. Yes. That's misleading. That's misleading. Jaden Ivey might be on the block. I mean, I feel like, again, we got 5-7 minutes to kill here. If we look at it here, Jaden Ivey, if we look at the whole Pistons roster, he feels like the odd man out, right? Right, Nate? Like, it just feels like he'd be the odd man out based on, like, you think about it. He goes down last year. He was having a good year last year. But when he went out, the Pistons were on the outside looking in terms of the playoffs. And then all of a sudden he goes down. They start winning. Then you start thinking, oh, just make the play-in. No, they made this the 6th seed. They avoided the play-in altogether. But then you bring back Ivy this year, which some people think that you should have traded Ivy this offseason where his value would have been higher than it currently is. But is Ivy one of those guys that just, not that he's bad or anything, not that he's done anything wrong, but just on the way that his trajectory is going and the way the Pistons' trajectory is going, is he just odd man out, just gets traded?
I think it has to be. I mean, I wouldn't say dead weight, right? But it's not dead weight. Obviously, he's contributing. That the issue has been consistency and staying on the floor. And listen, like, it's what's the Pistons are number 1 in the East for a reason right now. And this isn't something that it's like we need to make a trade because we're one of those teams like we can make a run. We're 6-7 seed. Like, we need someone to get us over the top. It's a team that is well equipped to already make a deep playoff run. But what we've talked about before is that right now, if you're Teron Langdon, you realize that you have all the cards in the deck in your hands. Like, you have the best hand there is because you have all your first-round draft picks. You have a young core. And I think if there's anybody on that list that I think is someone that could utilize as a good trade piece, maybe to go get someone like an MPJ, is someone like Jaden Ivey, because I don't think there's anyone else on that list. Now, mind you, Tobias Harris is like a complimentary piece if you get someone like Michael Porter Jr. back. We can talk about some of the different rumors that we've seen emerge on Pistons Talk. But
Herb Jones.
You want to do your Herb Jones would be another one. But the only threat in my mind, Ryan, here is you don't want to disrupt the young core. And I think that is the main fear for this Pistons squad, is disrupting that young core. But you have options if you're the Pistons. And that's the best thing that you can have. And I think Jaden Ivey being one of those guys, and you're right, you talked about like projectability. Obviously he has a lot of potential, but is he moving in the same way that this team is moving right now? I think he would make a valuable trade piece. We'll just have to see exactly what they think they can get back for him.
And it'd be weird to think, obviously, year being 2026, and you think back to 2022 when Ivy was ultimately drafted, we thought that we were getting the backcourt of the future solidified for a decade plus with Cade, Ivy. Obviously, we got one of those pieces for hopefully a decade plus in Cade Cunningham and how much of a star he is. But Ivy, he's just a guy that just – you knew coming out of college he'd struggle a little bit with the outside game. You kind of look at both of him and Cade's game where it's a driving type of guy, driving down the lane, being super athletic. Like, he's one hell of an athlete, Jaden Ivey is. But just struggles a little bit with the outside shooting with his jump shot. Like, I'm telling you, if Ivy had a consistent jump shot, I think he'd still be on this team. He'd be making a lot of money. I still believe that with Asar Thompson, like, he would be one of the best players in the league if Asar had a consistent jumper because of how good he is defensively and his athleticism and getting downhill and getting to the rim. But with Ivy, it just seems odd man out in this situation. He has not done one thing wrong, but I feel like there's something to be said, though, that his game is really similar to Cade's, but Cade can knock down jumpers a little bit at a bit of a higher clip, but it's kind of ball-dominant guards. They can get downhill a lot, little pick and roll a lot. You see that with Cade and with Durant. Like, we thought it was going to be
a small ball team.
You thought it was going to be Cade and Ivy, but it's Cade and Durant, really. I don't know why. I feel like I'm talking to you because you're over here on the screen, not over here to the camera. That was weird. But you think about it, Cade and Durant. Durant was in the same draft as Ivy. And Durant, I would be happy to pay him because at the beginning of the season, I didn't want to pay Durant, to be honest with you. I thought of a big that can't really stretch the floor for you. He doesn't have a consistent jump shot. He's just kind of an athletic freak. I ain't paying $30 million. But then I look at this year, the chemistry that he has with Cade is unbelievable. And
he's strong too.
Yeah, and you just
You heard
think,
Paul George talk about that.
and he's young too. Like I think he was
Yeah.
18 when he was drafted because he skipped the senior year of high school to play a year early at Memphis with Penny Hardaway. Man, has that program really fallen off in what it was supposed to be? With gosh, what was his name? James Wiseman, Duran, Amani Bates was on that team for a second.
Yep.
Lester
Yep.
Quinones. So no, there is it just feel like you feel bad. Like it feels like what J-Mo was supposed to be. J-Mo was supposed to be odd man out. If you really think about it, J-Mo was supposed to be. Now he gets paid. Ivy, I just feel like he's a trade candidate. And I think you're right though. You can't disrupt the core. Like if Ron Holland is a part of some of these trades, I don't really want to give up Ron unless it's for a massive piece that absolutely would upgrade us and take us from here to here. Yeah, I'm doing that. But I don't want to disrupt this young core because they're such a young team. Asar, Cade, Ron, Duran, Dennis Jenkins. You got all these guys. And I think that they're in a position where they don't even necessarily have to make a trade. But I think there's something to be said based on what Langdon's last deadline was of getting a guy like Dennis Schroeder at the deadline to get a ball handler. I think he is the one exception in this town of making deals at the deadline and not falling in love with your own guys. But yeah, I think only time will tell with Ivy.
And hopefully that means they'll maybe go out and win an NBA championship. But moving on here on Inside the Game, question of the day. Let's get to it.
Question of the day, we already kind of hinted at the Salt Athletic thing earlier. We're going to be having a giveaway starting next week. We just have to decide what that exact giveaway rules are. But Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off that #1 smell-proof cleat bag that we showed earlier on screen. Visit saltathletic.com today or scan that QR code. But this question has been kind of floated around Detroit social media the last couple of weeks. I have no horn, so I can't do it for you. Would you rather be the Bills and lose? If you're the Lions, obviously, would you rather go to the Super Bowl, lose 4 straight times the way that the Bills did back in the 90s, or would you just have rather never gone to one at all?
I heard this quote yesterday, and I think it's accurate. Better to love and have lost than never love ever. I don't think that's how the quote directly goes, but it's something along those lines, right? Better to have enjoyed that experience and gotten the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl and been in that environment. It's not even necessarily, in my mind, Ryan, about winning it. It's about I'm trying to envision what the city of Detroit, the people in Detroit, outside of Detroit, really, let's just talk about the state of Michigan in general, what the scenes would look like if they went to a Super Bowl. Doesn't even have to be in Detroit, right? Like I would just go to the city and be around the popular places in the city just to experience the madness and the joy and the anticipation that comes with the fact that the Lions are in a place that they've never been in before, which is in a Super Bowl. They've never been there before. And so, if anything, and my grandparents, it's the saddest thing about being Lions fans. It's not about me. I'm confident that in my lifetime, there's going to be many chances for that team to potentially win a Super Bowl. But when the grandparents start wearing the T-shirts saying just one before we die, like just give me one before I pass away, it's like, okay, like do we really have to be that morbid about this? Now it's like it's a real sense of urgency now because it's like, come on, we gotta do it. But at least if we can get there, at least we would have that shared experience in the state of Michigan of being like, hey, we made it. Like, let's make this the most awesome day ever. Like, let's go celebrate. Let's go do this. Let's be a part of it. But to have never been there, and as a matter of fact, only have experienced a handful of playoff games in some people's lifetimes, is just, it makes it really hard. And that's why, like, these diehard fans that have been fans their whole life, like, you must like torture. You must like just getting beat down all the time. That you must love drama. Like I don't know how a lot of these people have done it. I mean, obviously you're born in Detroit, right? So you're kind of born into it, but I would rather that than the other way around. 99 times out of 100.
I think I'd rather not go to one. I don't think I would, because we talk about the NFC Championship game and how much that haunts us.
Well, yeah.
17-point lead. And mind you, there were some heartbreaking fashions in the Bills, losing on some kicks. Some are blowouts, but we talk about being haunted by that night in San Francisco. Now just amp that up by 1,000 and do it 4 more times.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Nah. I get it. Maybe the build up to it, the 2 weeks of the build up to talk. Obviously for us, it would help a lot in terms of being in the media and talking about it. Obviously, that's a different discussion. But as a pure fan, we talk about being haunted by that game. We talk about Michigan basketball being haunted by that block from Trey Burke that was obviously clean. Could you imagine Michigan losing to Washington in the national championship game? I can't. Obviously, it didn't happen, but you talk about being haunted. I understand getting there is a really good accomplishment. All the scenes and all the aura surrounding it. Obviously, that's great. But to lose 4 straight Super Bowls as a fan,
yeah.
Again, I don't have any Bills friends personally. I don't know anyone personally from Buffalo. I don't know anything. I don't know what they're feeling. But I'm just going based on the feeling of what it was like in the NFC title game and what that felt like. And even think about the Commanders game. And again, just how bad we felt, because it felt like we had a shot. And going into the Super Bowl, we would 100% have had a shot in every single game. And just based on that, and it wasn't even the Super Bowl, I'm good. I'm good with not going. I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess, but losing is a part of it. I guess, I don't know. I would rather
I ain't losing
just
in the
be in the
like
conversation every year, right? But it generates interest, though. It keeps people interested and locked in and caring.
It generates interest regardless. We talked about the 0-16 team. They still sold out the place.
That's true. But are you going?
No, but it still sold out the place.
I get it, because the Detroit fans are tortured, and they're used to being tortured. And they don't have. That's the whole thing about. That's the whole thing about nearly making a Super Bowl, right? The expectations have changed now, and that's the hardest thing. When it comes to Lions fans, is again, they just have this mentality of, well, we're not as bad as we used to be. The outside of those collection of years, right? The Lions are a top 3 worst historical organizations in American pro sports history. I'm not kidding. That is not a lie, and I hate when people get insensitive about that. Just admit it. It is what it is. Okay, but the goalposts change. They move when you move them. When you get to a semifinal. Now the expectation is not just, hey, let's just go 500 and just, whatever. At least, we finished a game above 500. That's a good year for us. No, it's changed. And so that's the hardest part. Now is where we're officially entering into that other area. Now, I know how last year went, but now we're officially entering into that space, which is our expectations have changed. They have systematically changed, and for good reasons too. But that's why you're going to invite criticism. That's why you're going to get people who are more critical of Dan Campbell. I know he's the promised one. Okay. Everybody's clutching their pearls when I'm he's a glorified cheerleader. But you guys aren't listening to the words that I'm saying. Did you see the way they played last year? Okay, so this is, I understand the injuries and I understand everything else, but the expectations have changed. So therefore, our conversation and our tones are also going to change. But anyways, that'll wrap up episode 214 here on Inside the Game. Another great week here with Ryan and myself. Follow us, National Soccer Network, anywhere on social media you can find us. Again, we're going to have more stuff, more exciting things coming up next week. And Premier Media Group as we wrap up the month of January. But until we talk to you guys on Monday, we appreciate you guys stopping back for another fun week right here on Inside the Game.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This